Welcome to Skeptics to Seekers, Exploring the Edges of Wellness, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of holistic health and self-discovery. Join your hosts, Leandra Jackson and Heather Bergen, as we guide you on a journey to uncover the secrets of wellness. Each episode will challenge the conventional wisdom, explore innovative practices, and empower you to take charge of your well-being. Get ready to transform your skepticism into curiosity and your curiosity into a path to wellness. Let's embark on this journey together.
Good morning, I'm Leandra.
And I'm Heather, and today we are going to talk about exploring energy and burnout.
Okay, so what that means is, what if energy isn't just physical? And what if burnout is a signal and not a failure? So I can attest to that. You get burned out with something and then you feel like you totally failed at it because you didn't have the energy to sustain it. And you do feel like down in the dumps because of it. So we're going to address a bit of that. We're going to, make it understand that it's not a bad thing. It's something that we just have to address like any other health and wellness aspect in our life.
Well, the angles of figuring out how you got to that point, I think, is really what we want to talk about. Like, how did you get to burnout?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that just goes into it, and it's not just, a lot of it is the go, 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 but also there is part of a spiritual aspect of it and how to manage your energy so that you do not get into burnout.
Mm-hmm. And can it physically manifest, or is it just a mindset issue? So we're going to address that a little bit too. And so energy is multidimensional. It has components of being physical, emotional, relational, and spiritual. And each one of those require a different energy from us.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that is just a part of the whole awareness. And we want to make sure that you know it too. So is burnout real or just overused language?
I definitely think it's real. Definitely real.
Yes.
So what is why do you get burned out? Why do you have why does it just feel like all of a sudden your energy is like, when you're burned out, your energy is like gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you wake up and you're still tired.
Mm-hmm.
You are literally just pushing through every day. The idea of adding something extra just makes you want to literally cry.
Right. You could feel depression. You could just feel completely out of sorts and frustrated by all of that.
Yeah. And what is that energy? Like, how do we get energy in our body?
Right.
How do we manifest energy, or when our energy is depleted, where did it go and how do we get it back? Right. I think that's really the question. Like, what is happening to our energy?
Yeah. And
how do we manage it?
So then we'll have our nervous system needs to be regulated. It needs to, are we getting totally fatigued? Are we overloading the nervous system? Are we giving it what it needs? Are you the type of person that is, energized by groups of people? Are you working in a field where if you're around people and you're collaborating and it energizes you? Or on the other end, are you in, an career?
Do you need your alone time? I need my alone time to get that energy.
Are you
back.
Forced to be in a career where you have to be around people, and then at the end of the day you're just completely burned out, the overused language, and you need to be able to replenish the nervous system. You need to make sure that it's at a good level and it's not making you overwired or over fatigued.
Yeah. And then also how are you nourishing your body?
Right.
Your cells have a thing called mitochondria, which produce ATP, which is your energy.
It's the powerhouse.
But what if the cells aren't getting the nutrients they need in order to function correctly? So nutrition is so important,
So
supporting those cells.
Yeah, exactly. Either you eat really healthy and you're eating plenty of vegetables and fruit and good grains, if that's something you can tolerate and those things, or you're supplementing and filling in those gaps. And I'd also like to add that if you are overloading your nervous system with everything that's around you and all the stimulations that you have to deal with throughout the day, maybe it's a bunch of kids, maybe it's an unhappy relationship, maybe you're, dealing with some friendship stuff, then those kinds of nervous system dysregulations can also make you just want to grab the ice cream and not fill your food, not fill your body with the good things that are nourishing your cells.
Well, and this is just what's occurring to me when you say this is I think about numbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know maybe people reach for alcohol or some other substance to help numb their feelings.
Right.
But what about sugar?
Oh, huge.
And could actually be numbing your cells, like actually causing your cells inside your body not to be functioning correctly.
Right. Well, sugar feeds disease, and it also makes your brain react the same way that some drugs do. So It's definitely an addictive
numbing
chemical.
Yeah, and it's harming. It's actually harming your body. It's not. It might be making one part of you feel better in the minute, but the overall effect builds up.
Exactly. Going into the hormone dysregulation when it comes to that kind of stuff too, because as women we could be in a hormonal state, so to speak, and craving more of that sugar, but then the sugar is going to make you even more hungry, and then you're just going to eat more crap.
Right, and which is going to lead me into something that we were talking about right before we'd said is like people are like, we're going to say these words, listen to your body. But you actually really listening to your body is not as easy as it sounds. If your body is telling you, I want sugar, then maybe you're not really getting the correct message from your body.
And I would say that's more of like the brain wanting that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, my muscles and my joints are achy. Maybe I should give it some good nutrients.
Knowing what to do, really knowing the information of what you need to do when you listen to your body to truly help your body and not be like, the cranky child in the store where you just go ahead and buy them the toy to shut them up. And then now every time you go in the store, they expect you to buy them a toy or whatever, right? Like you're quieting it for the moment, but you're not really creating a good habit.
Right. Well, something that just came to my mind when you were saying that is like making sure that you're giving yourself the props that you need for the day before you go into the household. And then you're like, it's an unknowing feeling. And this will happen to me. Like I'll have a great day. I'm, being productive. I'm meeting people. I'm doing the things that I need to do. And I'm getting energized by it. And I feel like, oh yeah, high five, to myself. But I need to do that for myself and be like, I did a good job. This is what I did today. And deep down, you might feel like if you don't do that, you go in the house and then everybody's like, Mom, pulling me in all these directions. And I'm like, ah. And then all of a sudden it's like, why do I feel that way? And if you really think about it, if I would really think about it, I would think, well, it's because they don't know what I did today. They don't know like, hey, I would love to have a pat on the back or something.
Right.
And that we don't even recognize that. So that's really something that we have to pay attention to as well, then before we start getting aggravated at people even after a good day.
Yeah. It's so funny when we had a talk when we were going to move somewhere and my husband was going to have a long commute home, be gone all the day. And I was like, okay, when you come into the home after that very long day, I need to make sure that you are like emotionally regulated Like, I would rather you spend, the 5 minutes in the car, that they always complain about. Why are you sitting in the car? Why are you sitting in the car before you come inside? That's why, right? Like, just need to get ready. Like, put on your energy protections or whatever you need to do to be like ready to face that next.
That's the different levels of energy. Yeah. You have the relational, the physical, the spiritual, all that. Yeah. Cortisol is a huge thing when it comes to our nervous system and our cells properly functioning. And, you can have a huge amount of cortisol, and then you can have a really low amount of cortisol, and you can have the right amount of cortisol. So if you have the right amount, you're getting a good sleep cycle. Your hormones don't seem to be too dysregulated.
You have good energy.
You're not wired after, you're tired, but you're wired, and you just can't seem to get that rest that you need. Yeah. And then on the other end, you could feel completely drained, and that's where the burnout comes in. And you're just fatigued, and you have brain fog and emotional just flatness, and you just don't have any response to things, and you're just like blah.
Yeah.
So you want to have that good center to balance yourself. So if you feel like you're on either end of those spectrums, your cortisol is probably just out of whack. And here we're going to talk about some ways that you can kind of balance that and make sure that you're regulating your stress levels, because stress is a killer, and it'll manifest physically.
So yeah, and here there's also like emotional exhaustion. And I think I was just going to share a story, and then we'll touch back to this story. But I always say my husband's 5th deployment, right? Fifth deployment. Wow. He deployed like 10 times. Okay. 5th was definitely the worst. I definitely had like a complete burnout. I mean, what one might call like an emotional breakdown. But I felt so unsupported, right? So there was so many things going on during that. I was taking care of 3 kids. I was managing the routine, and I had done this before. And yet, for some reason, this one time, it just really took me down. And looking back, and we had talked a little bit about hormones, I am now realizing I was probably having some perimenopausal issues, which were causing my hormones to be dysregulated. By the way, the doctors don't know this, and they certainly didn't know this then. And so I always thought I was having like a postpartum depression. And now going back, I'm realizing that it might have been more hormonally related. So it was like a cascade. There was like the hormones coming in with like doing it all by myself with 3 kids, emotionally feeling unsupported. Like I didn't have a good system around me. A lot of my neighbors and friends had moved away. Like I had some people in my system, and then so it was weird because I didn't move, but a lot of my support people moved, right? And so I was feeling isolated, alone, unsupported with these kids. Like my brain just wasn't functioning. I had cognitive fog. Like it just cascades, right? I can't think right. Somatic tension, like my body hurt. Like I would go get a massage, and it literally felt like she was stabbing knives in my back when she was just massaging my back, because I was so tense. Yeah. And it was such a burnout. And I'm going to go back to this a little later in the story, but let's just imagine this is how burnout happens. You can handle it all. You're really good at handling it all. And then just one little thing, like I think this was a hormonal thing, but it just like pushed me over the edge. And I did not have the tools to figure out how to deal with it. I so wish now that I knew what I knew now, because I was physically and emotionally exhausted, right? And then like I just didn't have the energy in my body to do everything I needed to do. Like, I was just exhausted. I was literally had laundry bins in every room where I just like put all the toys. Like, I couldn't organize anything. I was just barely functioning and taking care of 3 kids. It was a good time. You know, I ponder, like, what led me to that state, like, of just complete burnout where my body felt so depleted. And it was a couple things, you know, and it snowballs, right? I probably wasn't eating the best I could because that just didn't feel like I didn't have the energy, right? I didn't have the energy to be doing the things to support myself. Was I getting to the gym? Probably not. Was I
or even just doing any kind of good movement for yourself
yeah,
at home.
like, and I just didn't know. This is the thing, like, things I know now, I didn't know. Was I clearly prioritizing what needed to get done based on my values? And also, maybe my values weren't always congruent with like societal values. So that also, and I never really deep dove on this before, right? Like, so I felt like maybe I was failing when I may not have actually been failing, it turns out, but because I was listening to my own values and maybe I wasn't living up to getting my kids in all the activities and running them to everywhere they needed to go. And, you know, it's like I knew something had to give, but I didn't have the time or the clarity to figure it out. So, and I didn't have the support because my husband was deployed. My family lived 3,000 miles away and my friends had all moved away. So I was like, I had to figure out how to set boundaries. Also, my kids are all a little neurodivergent. We've talked about that before. And I don't know if you know what that's like, but setting boundaries with neurodivergent kids is hard. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of energy, and like, I just had to make a decision, like, is this worth ruining my day for? Is that no worth ruining my day for? I would have to really fully decide, is this really a boundary I want to set? You know, and from the outside, it may have looked like bad parenting, but for me, it was like survival, you know, like, I don't really care what she's wearing to school. Like, is that fight over socks that important? Or can we just throw those shoes away later? Mm-hmm. You know, like figuring out what your boundaries are based on your values. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that I had done a good values deep dive in a while. And so, I mean, I did manage. I obviously came out of it. I'm here. And I came out of it by myself. Mm-hmm. But it was hard. And a lot of it was a lot of introspection. What are the boundaries that I really need to set based on my values, not some values that are put on me from outside sources? You know, and understanding how boundaries really work. And a boundary is not, you set a boundary to help. I mean, honestly, you're setting boundaries to help change someone else's behavior but it's really like, you can't really change their behavior. You just can change your react to their behavior. That is your boundary, is how you react to their behavior, not changing their behavior per se. Perhaps someone else's behavior will change based upon your boundary, but your boundary isn't really about changing someone else's behavior. It's really about sticking to your values and what you're willing to accept. And I think a lot of people aren't always on what that means for boundaries.
Right. It's what you can tend to manage and handle within your own self. And say somebody is crossing a boundary, like, you've had a rough day, just an example, and a kid is always like right in your face, or you get home and somebody starts an argument with you right away or something along those lines. And, you know, you want to set that boundary of like, hey, once I'm home, I need 10 minutes to just decompress. Or I work from home. So if my door is shut, knock.
You have a physical boundary.
Yes, so knock before you come in. or I will let you know when I am done working, along those lines, instead of just barging on. My youngest is, if he comes in and I'm on a call or I'm listening to something, he'll just all of a sudden be in the screen doing crazy things. And I'm like, really? You really had to do that? One day I was on a Zoom call and I was actually talking, and he jumped on the counter behind me and started dancing around. And I'm like,
how do I totally picture this?
This is not the boundary I set.
Right.
But there you go. Like you were saying, am I going to let this ruin my day by making a decision? Or am I going to calmly, when I'm done, just discuss it with them?
Right.
And it's something that you can't, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. That's just going to cause more stress on yourself. But there are some really great wellness angles that you can approach these things with.
I wish I would have known. I would have known so many of these things back when.
Exactly. Me too. Because I've gone through so many different stressful situations in my life too. And that's why we do this, is so we can help others and help you to understand there are ways to get through life.
You've got some tools.
You're not going to be unscathed, but there are tools.
Yes.
And breath work for the nervous system reset is one of those tools. And it might seem all wooey or foo-foo, but it really works. And even if you just do box breathing, look up box breathing. That can be a starting point. Look up yogic breathing, diaphragmatic breathing.
Even just a breath where you breathe in for 4 and then blow like you're blowing out a straw for 8.
Yep.
That's a great one. I already feel more relaxed.
See, yeah.
It can be that simple.
It can be that simple. And another kind of interesting or even silly one to do is breathing in through your nose and then opening your mouth as wide as you can.
Lion's breath.
And even sticking your tongue out. Yeah, and like making the noise. And that is important because a lot of times you want to get vocal, especially if you're getting frustrated and you just want to like yell out. And that can be at somebody else and then you feel bad. But you could take just a few minutes, do some deep breathing, let that sound come out, or you scream into a pillow, do a rage circle with some friends. Those are all great things. Essential oils are really wonderful. They can be so supportive, especially if they're pure, tested. We use the doTERRA oils. They're lovely. They're very pure. And peppermint, sage, melissa, or lemon balm. Those are all very good oils to help with mental clarity, to help with groundedness and just the energetic flow, and also gentle movement.
And when you say of essential oils, like, I'm just going to say like what you could diffuse them, but you could also just put a drop in your hand
and rub it. Yeah.
And inhale it or rub hot on your body. Yeah. So
definitely use them on your body,
having
and around you.
Yes, having a way. Let's say how you use the essential oils.
Absolutely. So like they're very important to put on the body. You want to be able to absorb them and use a carrier oil, and then of course the aroma around you. It's very soothing. Get rid of the artificial fragrances. They're not going to help you, and they can disrupt hormones. So you definitely want to get rid of that.
Tested. Essential oils.
No wax melts, no plug-ins, even some candles that have a lot of fragrance you want to stay away from.
If it says fragrance and not essential oil
can really disrupt your hormones, and people will get sick and they don't even know why they're getting sick. And it's because they're around all these toxins and it's
they're disrupting their hormones,
disrupting you so much. And then even doing these wellness angles may not be a benefit as much as you want it to be because you're having these outside interferences. Gentle movement to help with stagnant energy. So like spinal flows, how you had talked about, just kind of like moving your spine, cat-cows.
Yeah, cat-cow.
Getting your pelvis moving around is really good because that's going to help stimulate the chakras, the energy flow in the body, and let that release.
Or if you are good at listening to music, and I'm saying are good at listening to music because sometimes I totally forget to listen to music. Like, why do we not have, I should have some playlists, make them on Spotify, put them on and dance to
Have a
them.
dance party.
Sway to them. It doesn't matter what they are. Sing. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
The vocal, the humming, the making the sound. So like singing in your car or in your home, even if you're not carrying a tune, it doesn't matter. No. You don't have to be on key, but just like moving that air with that vibration in your body is so important. And I always, I'm getting back into really listening, having playlists that I listen to, and I'm like singing. I really try to sing along with them in the car when I can, I am not a good singer, by the way, but I'm luckily by myself most of the time. And just because I know that like the vibration and just like if you have good be paying attention to the music that you're actually listening to. What are the words? What is the story? What is it telling you?
How does it make you feel?
How does it make you feel? And then again, creating your playlist. Don't just be subject to whatever's on the radio. There's so many Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Apple Music. There's so many ways to create and curate your...
I would like to also add into that too, that sometimes if you're listening to music kind of nonstop, it can be a distraction. Not that music isn't wonderful. It can help you move your body and get things moving out of your nervous system. But if you are constantly bombarding yourself with noise and you feel like you can't sit in silence for a period of time, then that's a practice to try to do. And if you can't sit in silence because you start thinking all these different things, then that is part of your nervous system telling you something. And you need to listen to that part, whether emotions or frustrations come up about it. And if you're not sure how to handle that, finding a support system is going to be a good process for you. And you can contact any of us as well. We can certainly help with that.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I remember back in those burnout that time when I was just so overwhelmed, and we would if I made it to yoga, the end of yoga is the savasana, where you have to just lay quietly.
It's the hardest thing to do.
It was so hard for me. I was like, all I could think is, when is this going to be over? Running through lists in my head, now I'm just like, I can, like, my brain, I'm like, I'm good at savasana now. Like, I can do it. Like, oh my gosh, it felt like torture. It literally felt like torture to me.
So if you're one of those people that I can't meditate, I can't sit still, I can't relax, that means you need to try to do it more. It's not that you need to continue to go on to that hustle energy. So that hustle energy doesn't mean that just because you're busy, you're getting shit done. All right. You could be busy all the time and have a completely chaotic life. But to actually be able to sit still, just sit your butt down and just be still. Seriously.
Yes.
It can be so hard for people. And that is truly a benefit, is to just be able to sit and listen to yourself.
As you said, if you can't, that is also telling.
It is telling, yes. And it's something that needs to be addressed. Okay. So yes, you need to make sure that you can have that time for yourself, and you don't have to have noise or TV or music on all the time. I know my family is kind of like that. Like, they don't really like to be without the noise. I love it. I like the quiet. I don't turn on the stuff in my car usually unless I'm listening to a book or a podcast. I probably should listen to music more.
But it's specific music. I am going to say, like, it makes me feel uplifted, supported, spiritually connected. Like, it's kind of like that kind of music.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I was at my friend Rachel's house the other weekend, and I was giving her some body work, and she had this really amazing playlist on, and it was all singing mostly, but it was actually a playlist that she created for when she had She was in the hospital with her second baby, having her baby. And I was like, I love this playlist. It's so calming. It's so energizing and like uplifting. And it's not just like the instrumental stuff that I'll listen to my normal sessions. So I really liked it. And then some other wellness angles that you can address are, we were talking about movement. So heart opening yoga. If you have any idea about the chakras, if you don't, go back to one of our first podcasts. We talked all about the chakras. And you can reconnect to that inner truth. So why can't you sit down? Why can't you do Savasana? Why can't you meditate for 5 minutes?
Brutal truth.
Journaling prompts. It's also good to journal. And if you're not a writer, just squiggle, just doodle. And eventually something will come out. Because
you could draw.
Start there.
I've heard some people like draw instead of journal.
Yes, I think that's so soothing because it's getting something out of you in another way. And then oils to open the heart space, bergamot or bergamot, rose, geranium, neroli is a great one as well. And again, you can use those in the same way. Rose is actually so good to put on your body as a woman. Helps with hormones, it helps with love, it helps with opening that heart space, and it helps physically with the immune system and the cellular health. So routines. We didn't really talk about that yet, but sometimes, and we were saying like, if you have kids or if you have neurodivergent kids, routines are horrible because when you're trying to stick to routines, they're always going to get screwed up. However,
it's still good to have a baseline.
Just be flexible.
Right. It's good to have a baseline. Like, know what you're diverging from.
Exactly. If your kid comes in and makes a complete disaster of the front area because they just drop everything, then the routine can be okay. Once you come in, you put your shoes here, you put your jacket here, and then the next day they're not going to lose it. And then just as you gradually start to make that happen, then the routine becomes more habit. But if it's like, the routine is okay, this person does the dishes every other day or something, and you probably already do something like this. Sit down with your family, have a discussion, figure out what's going to work for everybody, figure out where you're going to fit in the fun times and not just the always the have to do list. But if you are having a routine and you're feeling shame or urgency about it, like, oh, I have to get this done because I'm going to get in trouble if I don't, or if you feel like you're just feeling good about it, then you're not being authentic with yourself. You're not being authentic with your true values. And there should be a way that you can fine tune that to fit what fits you.
Yeah, I'm always saying, like, if there's something that needs to get done and you're saying, I should do this versus I want to do this, right? Like, if you're saying I should do this, maybe you want to look at it and be like, do I want to do this? And again, sometimes that you have to take that step back to your values, right? Like, is this really something that you want to do? Or are you feeling like you should do it from some outside pressure from society or something like that? Or it's like, well, I should enroll my kids in music lessons. Well, what if that just really isn't important to you or your kids? Or you enroll them and they won't go or they don't do anything. And then you realize it's because like maybe you don't value it and they don't value it, but you're feeling like some weird outside pressure, like they should be doing that, right? So always asking that question.
Absolutely.
Especially like if you're feeling like you should be doing it or do you want to be doing it? And how did you put yourself in this position to be having to ask this question?
I do tell my kids a lot though, and there's things that they're supposed to be doing and they don't want to do. And it's like, okay, but you do have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do in life. But that can be,
again, if it goes back to the value of...
Like for me, for instance, I have to do massage billing for insurance. That's my least favorite thing to do. I have to catch up on it. Should I do it? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. But
do you value
my
being
forward?
Able to support your family?
I have to make money.
Like going back to that value of supporting your family, then that helps you be like, okay, yeah, I don't really want to do this, but also I have this value that I'm supporting my family.
Right.
And when you put it in that space, it might make it a little easier to just get it.
Exactly. Or your kid doesn't want to clean up after themselves and you're like, well, I should just do it so I don't get into an argument with them. But when you set that clear boundary and, okay, well, this is not going to be yours for now until it's done, then that can start turning into a better habit, and then everybody can be a little bit more copacetic.
Right.
You know, there's lots of different ways.
Again, finding the value.
Yeah, finding the
like,
value.
We're not going to live in a pigsty because, you know, we want to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And living under these conditions is not
Everybody
healthy.
has their part, right? And then create energy protective rhythms. So I think we kind of covered that, just making sure that we're being authentic to ourselves, finding the value and all of that. So,
well, and I think, I mean, to me, energy protective rhythms also covers bedtime, consistent sleep habits, consistent morning routines. So funny. Like, I just did this coaching session with someone, and I mean, I've done a lot of coaching sessions. I'm a coach, right? Like, and I know, like, mornings are more productive for me. Like, in general, mornings are more productive for people, right? Because you have more energy. You don't have to have as much willpower to get stuff done. Your willpower is not depleted. As the day goes on, your willpower, your energy gets a little bit depleted because you've been using it to get things done. And I think, like, my brain got so focused on that I was like, I really want to start doing this meditation practice, but I was like, I really don't have time to add anything else into my morning routine. And okay, this sounds so silly, but I was like, I could do it. I could take a break in the afternoon for 30 minutes and do this meditation. Okay. I know it doesn't sound like a brilliant epiphany, but for me, it was like, I don't have to do everything in the morning. I can. And I was flexible about it. I was like, sometime between noon and 4, I am going to pop those headphones on and do this meditation. Right? But I don't know. For me, because I am so much more productive in the morning, I always want to stick everything in the morning.
I feel that way too, especially
Isn't that
when
weird?
it comes to, like, our self-care and exercising and things like that. Like, do it in the morning or else you're not going to do it. But that's not necessarily the case. You can do whatever you want.
I had to give myself permission to, like, add it into the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is, like, one of my new routines. But yes, if I can start doing this meditation sometime between, really 12 and 5. You know, I see clients. I don't want to take away all my business time because I did kind of block that as my business time. But sometimes you need a break too.
Yeah, you need to regenerate from seeing clients, you know, whether you're a wellness coach, a life coach, or just doing massage or something like that. But I want to kind of backtrack a little bit on what this is about, like the invisible burnout. That can come from people pleasing, caregiving, chronic overfunctioning, which we were just talking about.
But I think all of that was what happened with my burnout.
Exactly. And it's where you were talking about, like, where did it come from? And we're not failures if this happens. I had a burnout when I was caregiving for my mother, and it was traumatic. I had to go into therapy. I was in a really dark place. I didn't feel like I was supported. It was really hard. And when you're in that space, you're like, oh, such a failure. Why is it like this? But just no, you are not a failure. You're just going through a rough time. There is support. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out to somebody. There is somebody that loves you, that is willing to listen and wants you to reach out. Because I would want somebody to reach out to me and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Gosh, I had no idea. People don't know. I had no idea. Let me help you.
Yes, there's people that would help you.
Just sit down together.
There's always just, like, a therapist to talk something through with. You know, I think back then, again, I couldn't even find a therapist. I tried. It's like, I think I need a therapist. And the only one I could find, because I lived on an island, was like, a 3-month wait.
Oh my gosh. And then it probably wasn't much of like the online stuff either.
No, there was no online.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I just say there's so many more resources available.
Definitely. So many resources now. Absolutely. So there is no shortage of resources. You should not be left on your own dealing with struggles like this. And so you can, when you find yourself on these little burnouts or a big burnout, make sure you're getting a day off. Make sure you have time for yourself. Do some self-care. And getting pampered is not just getting pampered. It's also part of self-care, I would think. Like me and a girlfriend went and got a pedicure the other day, and it was just like, I needed that.
And I love that you did that with a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So you got like two. You got like your feet done, and you got to talk to someone and connect.
Yeah. And, these digital boundaries are so important. Turn off. I was just talking to somebody the other day. She's like, I want to do this stuff. I want to do that. And there's so many things I want to do and get outside. But I just find myself scrolling and on the TV and in front of things and listening to politics. And it's just draining. I mean, she was just crying.
That's what I was saying about this afternoon meditation. I know I get on Facebook and scroll for 30 minutes. What? Instead of doing that, I'm going to put this meditation on.
Exactly. Do a digital download. Like, just get rid of it for a little bit.
I mean, even back in the day when phones were new, I mean, I guess maybe I had a phone. I would just play some stupid games on my phone. Like, I can't have games on my phone.
I mean, I just don't even put it on there anymore.
I mean, I think I got to the top level of Candy Crush. This is not something to be proud of. Okay, like I cannot have games on my phone because, yeah, even if it's not scrolling Facebook or doom scrolling, I also, that dopamine hit from the games.
Right.
It's not a healthy dopamine.
No, it's not. It's like, it is an addiction. It gets crazy. So take some time away from the digital stuff. Go for a walk, go for a hike. And okay, if you're going to have your headphones in listening to something, I feel like that's a little bit different. But it's also nice to just listen to the nature.
It's good, but I love to listen to a podcast while I'm walking.
Me too, but you're still not staring at something and getting all
like
this
try to look around for a minute and take in your surroundings.
And then time blocking is very important because it can help your nervous system find comfort in those time blocks so that you're not feeling so scattered like, I have all these things to do, but now that I have, client time, work time, family time, dinner time,
And sometimes for me, like, I'll feel overwhelmed about some tasks I need to get done. And if at least I have like it blocked a certain amount of time I have to work on them, I'll be like, I don't have to worry about them. I'll do that at noon, and I blocked like to do the billing, right? Or whatever that task is that you don't want to do. If you block it and put it on your calendar, you don't have to worry about it when it's not on the calendar. And when it comes to that time, you can just dedicate that time to it and get it done.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how less a burden it actually is once you get it done.
Yeah, or just make a list. Like if you're a type of person that will go to bed and you have a list in your head, write the list down and then go back to bed. Right. And then you're like, okay, that list is there for me tomorrow. Just find some comfort in that.
I love lists. Oh God, you got me started on lists now. So lists are fabulous because say you do find that extra 15 or 20 minutes chunk of time and you have a list, you can look at your list and be like, this would be an excellent time. Just go ahead and schedule that doctor's appointment or call and make the grooming appointment for the vet or whatever. It's great to have a list because it gives you something to choose from instead of being like, what should I do right now? What should I do right now? Yeah. How many times are you in that? Like, what should I do right now? Well, if you have a list, you can pick something.
Exactly. And then if you're the type of person that does something that's not on the list, you can write that thing down just so you can cross it off the list. And you have more of a accomplishment
feeling.
So
you can look back at the day and be like,
exactly, I did things. And then to delegate as a wellness practice. And what that means is if you do have roommates or a family that you live with or people that are in your support system, you can delegate certain things like, okay, I'm not going to do the dishes tonight. It can happen in the morning. So then tonight you can go and do your meditation or take your bubble bath. And then in the morning you can take care of it. Or
delegate to your spouse. Like
to the spouse.
Even though he loads the dishwasher in a way that I would not recommend.
Hey, I just say
done is done, like let them do it even if they don't do it the way you think it needs to be done.
My husband will look in there if my kids do it and he's like, that wasn't supposed to be done that way. I'm like, dude, they just let it be. Yes. Organize it if you want to, but they did.
But yes, let them learn. It's important for them to learn how to do these things too. Exactly. And to support you. Yeah.
You want to take care of yourself. Ask somebody to do the thing that you don't want to do so you can take care of yourself.
Right.
And don't feel bad for asking for help because that's where that invisible burnout will come out. Because if you're the type of person that says, well, I don't want to ask them for help because I don't want them to be mad. Right. That's not on them. That's on you.
Right. That's your personal.
That's how.
And it's kind of funny because it's like maybe there's something that you just despise doing and they don't mind doing it. It's not a big deal for them.
Like I hate folding laundry and putting laundry away. I will do laundry, but it will just sit there and not get put away. And my husband, he doesn't really mind putting it away, and he'll, just have the TV on and hanging up. I'm like, oh, thank you.
My husband will mop the floors, and I'm like, do I think again if I did it, would I do it the same way he did? No. Would it take me longer? Yes, but you know what? He's doing it his way, and he's getting it done, and he's feeling. Like, he's getting that pride, too, of, like, I do this. Like, he can own it. I'll let him own that. Like, he mops the floors. Like, okay.
Yeah. And in those blocks of time, too, that we were talking about, if you feel like you're coming to that block of time that you don't want to do, take a little breath work session.
Such a good idea.
Just take a little couple breaths, like, okay, this is what I have to do. I don't really want to do, but I know I got to do it. I could go doom scroll, but instead I'm going to do this. Okay, prepare yourself, ground yourself, get it done, just do it. You will feel so much better afterwards. Trust me, I love those things. Like, I don't like doing the things I don't want to do, but once I'm done, I'm like,
oh, what a good feeling it is.
It feels so much better. And
I really think you are so right. Like, I want to just drive that home again, like doing that breath work first. Like, okay, you don't want to do it. I've just started doing this program with someone. It's called Flow. And one thing we do a breath work and a little brief meditation. It's this hour chunk of time. And she'll like chunk out 10, 15 minutes. So we breathe and then we do 15 minutes worth of work. And we stop and we breathe for like a couple breaths. And then we like do another 15 minutes. And it's amazing how just breaking it up with that breath work, it actually, she says, it expands time. Wow. But it's almost like you can get more done when you take those little breaks in between than trying to work straight through.
And I would say a physiological aspect of that is when we're working, we forget how to breathe. We just our body just does it on its own, of course, but we train our body. So if you're breathing shallowly into the chest, that's just what you're going to naturally do normally. If you take a second, like you said, within those 15 minutes, and you intentionally bring that oxygen into your body, it's going to flow all the fluids, all the blood. It's going to improve the circulation, and it's going to improve your energy.
Yeah, and that would probably help get rid of some of the brain fog, too.
Exactly. So get that oxygen in there, push it down into the organs, because when you expand the belly on the inhales, and then you contract the belly on the exhales, you're literally massaging your internal organs at that time as well. So that's going to help improve digestion. It's going to help improve your circulation, your lymphatic system. And then in turn, of course, your brain, and be able to get more work done. So I love that you brought that up. Movement breaks. That's involved with the breath work. Oils for focus and emotional resilience.
Cover that.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Peppermint. There's lots of great ones that you can use. Micro rest practices. Take a nap if you need a freaking that, man. Don't just exhaust yourself. Or just lay on the couch for 5 minutes. I was
just close your eyes. Set a timer for 5-10 minutes and just close your eyes and allow yourself to. And then probably go step outside to help wake up.
Definitely.
You
outside.
know.
I'm gonna go outside today. I am actually gonna plant some of my seeds that I'm gonna start in the house. I'm gonna go outside and do that and get some good fresh air, and it's gonna be lovely. It's a beautiful day today.
It is.
And okay, so releasing stored burnout, grief, resentment.
So releasing emotions. Again, yoga. Intentional breath work that I do is like the 2-stage breath work. It's a practice, but it can really help you get these emotions out. And I'm also doing like a shaking practice right now. Somatic. Like somatic is just like moving your body, but in different, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Right. Yes, and we want to make sure that if you, kind of going back what I was saying, if you come home and you feel like you just want to snap at somebody, then instead of doing that, take a second, realize this is how I'm feeling. Go and move your body, do some shaking, do some movement, take some breaths.
Step outside.
Realize, who am I really mad at? Who am I feeling this sort of emotion towards? And realize it's not the person that was standing in front of you, it's something that you might be dealing with.
Yeah, we store so much in our bodies, and then it just builds up. And then we let it go at maybe less opportune times if we don't make a practice to release it intentionally.
Yeah, so our energy output is more than our emotional support, and we need to fill our own cups.
Yeah.
So gain our own emotional support, have a support system if you need it, get that alone time. And you know, grief is a huge thing for people. We all have parts of grief in our life, whether we lost a significant other, a sibling, a best friend, any friend, just anybody close to us.
It could be like a job, an opportunity, you know,
a door closes.
So many things that we grieve that we don't even need.
Expectations, things like that. And, you know, we want to have a support system for those things and take care of ourselves, because it's so easy in grief and loss to just think that we're not worth it. And we are. And you can certainly find the right nutrients and to find your way back to yourself. There is a path. Call us if you need help, please. We want to help you.
Yes.
And somatic release, like we already talked about, very wonderful. And Heather's breath work is amazing. She did a session with me 1-to-1, and I feel like I am a pretty emotional, resilient person at this point in my life, because I have gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of healing, and there was still buildup, and like, I don't help me release it.
Yeah, like you never really get, it's layers. It's layers upon layers. And you get rid of some and others come up, and you're never really done. You can never really release it all. I mean, maybe somebody can, but in society that we live in, you definitely...
There's always going to be
stuff that you can work on releasing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I guess the point is, my biggest thing would be just starting to notice when you're heading toward burnout before you get to that full burnout stage. Using some of these skills or things in order to prevent yourself from getting all the way to that burnout stage. I think that's like really my biggest takeaway. And knowing that there are so many resources available.
So many. And we're like in a health revolution here, you know? There's so many different practitioners that are coming out of the woodwork these days that you don't have to just settle on one type of practice. You can try all different kinds of things. And we want to invite you to experience one small shift this month. And we would love to know what that small shift is, what you're going to experience or experiment with. Reframe energy as a relationship and not a resource. I would say that it is a resource, but it's also the relationship we have with ourselves, instead of waiting until we just can't go anymore.
Yeah. I don't know if I should even go into that, but I just know people who do this all the time. They just go and go until they are sick or get a migraine for 3 days or something that forces them literally to just take themselves out of the game for a couple days because they overextended and overpushed and overgave and and then they just hit a wall.
And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that do that. They don't even realize that's what they're doing.
They don't see it.
Need assistance in being able to recognize those things in your life that may be pushing you to this burnout that you continuously keep having, call us. Yes. And we encourage curiosity. So a couple questions. What if your burnout is trying to tell you something? Exactly, trying to tell you something. We were just talking about that. What if your energy is wiser than your schedule?
So just paying attention.
Think about what that means to you. Is your energy wiser than your schedule? And if you want to collaborate on that, just post in the comments. We would love to collaborate on that.
Yeah. Obviously, this is big. This is a topic that's close to our hearts.
Absolutely.
I probably don't know any women that haven't experienced at least one major burnout. That's usually the eye opener.
Absolutely. And that one burnout could have caused continuous health issues. It could have created something that is completely like autoimmune, and you just don't even know where it's coming from. And sometimes to just get a holistic approach and an outside look at what your life has been and look outside the box can really open people's mindset to understanding their health and wellness. So we thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
We love you. Have a good day. Namaste.
Namaste.